Before we get into the video, I just want to apologize for any poor audio leveling. I really did my best to keep it even and make sure that my recordings were a good level, but I feel like sometimes it's kind of bad, so I hope you can just forgive me for that. Sometimes when I was doing these recordings, my voice just wasn't as warmed up as others, and sometimes I'm just the mic's just not picking me up the same. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I'm not a mycologist. It all starts when we pull our first Evelyn.
I'll protect you.
First up, building her. Slap her on the Penny Luna and leveled her up to 10. Then we moved on to General Chop's mission. It's really easy, and also outside of her event trial with Yao Yao, I haven't even tried her yet. I hadn't played her. I pulled her on my main account and then I ran over to this one to see if I could get her on here. Really, this felt like my first time playing her. She's fast, she's smooth. The only thing I don't like is the way she flies around. Kind of throws me off. Also, my own poor dodging skills. The investigators were already here, so there's nothing to do. I go tell General Chop first. Then he gives me nudes on the house. Next, off to the uninformed Susie. She lets me in to look at the W engines. For me and Eve, the Street Superstar or the Starlight engine would be the best. However, the Superstar has a focus on chain attacks, and honestly, I'm not sure if that includes the Bang Boo, but even if it did, I'm gonna be dodging way more, so we'll just have to wait and see if I get that. Wise calls me back to the store, but first I've got a few rewards to redeem. Nicole found the strong box, and tells us the plan, sweet and simply, professionally. As proxies, it's our job to communicate from outside the Hollow using EOS, our Bang Boo. We can speak in real time and guide them through the time and space warping maze of the Hollows. We learn that we've been hacked by someone looking for the strong box that we're looking for. The hackers begin to format the computer, threatening to destroy Faithin. He sends us a recording of the cunning hairs from inside the Hollow. Evil EOS leads them aimlessly. They end up hiding from ethereals while investigators arrive. Billy quickly offers to sell us out for being led to safety. And I thought we were friends. Nicole's a real one though, and leads the hairs away from the investigators. Eventually, we give the account to the hacker. However, through the power of off-screen, Wise calls PubSec to the hacker with info on the Faithin account. This means we can't keep the account, but to help Nicole solve the brills earlier, thankfully we already have an appropriately named account to use. I flawlessly complete the relink and connect back with the hairs. We continue on, fighting more monsters like they're nothing. Finding the strong box means finding Dullahan, the fresh ethereal of the former Red Fang gang leader. This is the first boss in the game, so I felt nervous. I got hit a few times, but quickly dispatched Dullahan. Losing our data means not knowing how to get the hairs out, so we asked Nicole before using the data in the strong box on EOS.
Go for it!
Not long after putting the data into EOS, we pass out and have a crazy vision of Hollow Zero exploding. Crazy. Anyway, a voice speaks inside my mind about user agreements, but I never read them, so I just hit accept. Then we're introduced to new Eridu's #1 assistant, Fairy. Fairy says she has
unlimited access to over 80% of all smart devices in the city.
And that's all for the prologue. Wise suggests focusing on the store for a little bit and sends me off to meet the lovely cast of 6th Street. Asha, the arcade owner.
Hey!
Tin Master, the barista.
Please, have a taste.
And the 141 Bang Boos.
No.
Lucky for me, attack seals are currently on sale, but not yet available to buy. Then I'm invited over to meet Inky the Stray and learn how to take photos. Then I get access to the events menu and I decided to take my free Harmasa because why not? I then get a bunch more rewards, get reminded of my upcoming free Starlight dub. I go to level up Eve and decide to get her mats from her trial first. During the trial run, I managed to not use Nicole or Ambi once. Very proud of myself. It's the only time if I have another character on the team with Evelyn that I didn't use them, so that's really good for me. After, I level her all the way up to 20, and the Plenty Luna as well. I meet Hetty, learn to run my store, and go do my best damn game of Snake ever. Then, not so good game. But Billy won, so that means I win too. The next day, longtime associate Shepard reaches out to the new account to help kickstart with the new commission. He waits at Cough Cafe and gives me a commission from leading construction company, Vision. There's engineers trapped in the hollow, so easy peasy. First we find the bamboo in poor condition, and Fairy teaches me how to repair them, so I can flawlessly wake the bamboo called a team of 10. After a team of 10 wakes up, ethereals show up, so I quickly dispatch them. Man number 1 is right around the corner, and we leave a beacon for him to be found later. We find the next two easily in between fights before finding our exit. A few days later, Hetty officially works at the store, and I snag a perfect photo of Wise. Vision CEO Perlman explains the demo plan with Miss Bellum, and into the store crashes Nekomata. She tells us the hairs are inside the blast zone of Vision Corps' demolition site. So we watch Million's visual data of the last few days. We watch them fight the Red Fang gang, definitely just watch and not play through the fight ourselves. Perlman is sending the train in, so we're forced to act. We send Neko Evelyn inside to find a way to the train. Also, I didn't realize it while I was playing through, but while editing, I saw that Corrin was actually showing up during the fight.
Why?
I don't understand why Zenless Zone Zero does this to me. I turned off trial characters. Why are you still doing this? We make it into the train and discover armed PubSec guards inside. More importantly though, after helping Tin Master with the HIA coffee fanatics, we get to participate in the HIA's VR games. But first I bought the tax seals from 141. Then we head out to the HIA club to see how Eve fares in getting her own materials. The short answer is very well. The long answer is it might be faster with characters the enemies are weak to, but only like 30 seconds per run is pretty fast. This means we can possibly promote her after our rank up. Hooray! I decided to get her dubbed seals as well. These armored hottie took a little longer since it was harder to get through the shield, but still, the longest fight was only 46 seconds. Then, because I had some stable channel tapes,
Knew you'd need my help.
I got Nekomata. I was stunned, speechless, flabbergasted. My other pulls were meh. Then, time to meet back with Nekomata. We watch Million's footage some more. By the way, if you care of the story, the hairs are collecting signatures of the trapped people because they're gonna sue Vision. We commit felonies by beating up PubSec officials and redirect the train. Dipshit blows up the railroad and Nekomata takes Perlman as leverage, but quickly learns that Perlman is a pawn. A pretty useless one. One that is worth a lot of drama later though. But first, we still have to save the citizens. We need to clear out ethereals to shrink the hollow first, and fighting the dead-end butcher is the fastest way to shrink the hollow. We beat the ethereals, learn some physics, and find the butcher. I was nervous for this fight, but Eve treated him like nothing. The next phase of the plan, explode the train. Nicole and the Hares get everyone out, almost killed, and saved by the real PubSec. The Hares take the siblings and Nekomata out to dinner, we take a photo, and are now allowed to use our photo wall. Yippee! That finishes Chapter 1, which unlocks skills upgrades at the HIA and preset configs for teams.
You're in good. It's my duty to protect the asset. It's my duty to protect the asset.
Evelyn does just as fine against these enemies as any other. I level up her basic attack, special attack, her ult, and her dodge. I finally get to wander around as Evelyn, which is great, but personally, I pretty much never use this feature. Can't even take selfies when you're not one of the Faithin. What the fuck? We start off day 2 by meeting my least favorite NPC, Mew Mew. And listen, Mew Mew's fine. Adorable even. But his background lines...
Did I say spotted you?
Next order of business is ranking up as proxies. I did excursion commissions that required fights. Then, Shepard shows up and informs us that HIA is hiring independent investigators for Hollow Zero. I meet Ray, also known as Ray. She tells me about my examination. I, illegally, I assume, put Fairy on the terminal and begin my special operation. I take my only option for Bamboo Assist and begin one of my least liked parts of ZZZ. Most of this is skippable for the video, but I'd like to highlight my hatred for Thanatos. I overdodge when fighting these because my brain overwhelms itself anticipating when it's going to teleport all over the place. Getting smacked up by these things for 2 seconds just isn't really my favorite thing. Also, I just want to show you these AoE kills by Evelyn. She just looks so good. Her AoE kills just look so good.
Your journey ends with me.
I got a shield granting Resonium, which honestly became very important for me being able to succeed. Then my exam gets rudely interrupted by one of my favorite character introductions of all time. I decided to do the Battlefront Purge and chose kind of the wrong boo. I read fire damage and recover the active agent's lost HP by 30% and did not read the terms and conditions. I didn't read the part where my health drains. Overall, the damage isn't so bad. Besides, the Bang Boo effect looks so cool. I did get pretty low on HP quickly though, but as long as I used the Bang Boo as soon as it was ready, I was doing just fine. Because of this though, I did die twice and got quite close a third time, but I did still win. More shield Resonium and a really useful one before the final fight. Despite how low my health got, I managed to not die and finish this purge on my first go. Yippee! Finally, we meet Enzo and receive our first Bang Boo.
Did you want to mod something?
Bag Boo! Lucky for us, Bag Boo actually benefits from having an attack character. The other Bang Boo I ended up wanting was Brawler Boo, as he also benefits from an attack character. Then, of course, we must gamble. And we got 0 Brawler Boos, but some Bag Boos, so that's honestly really good. Now, back to trying to promote. First, my favorite old man, Jobert. Bad name, great sense of humor. He hires me to go record battle footage in the Hollow. With pleasure, Jobert. I added Bag Boo to the team and collected some materials. Then I decided to go ahead and buy the Starlight engine. A few more commissions and the day was finished. The next day, I unlocked agent stories. For some reason, I had to bring a second agent. So I brought Harumasa. This was a mistake, I think. When in the team, Harumasa's balls still spawn even when he's off field. I also instinctively swapped him in once. Oops. I killed him so I wouldn't make the mistake again. When the electric balls spawn in, I'm just not sure if they do damage or not, but regardless, we hold the mole or whatever.
Nothing can beat my defense.
Then it's time for another rank up, but first apparently, Daily Good Deed, where I rob a Bang Boo. 3 minutes flat, by the way. Then a flawless victory to proxy rank up. Everything gets leveled up and I'm off to chapter 2. Belle leaves and I'm wise now, but there's been a new hollow disaster. During this mission is when I realized what a badass Bag Boo is. Seriously, didn't know he wielded cleavers. Later, we ask the not Bells about Belle and only one can tell me she's in there with another girl. So we go back. Now that we're Belle again, Shepard asks us to clean up a construction site. Honestly, I feel there should be safety laws about that, but done. Next is meeting with Anton from Belobog Industries. Belobog lost kids to the Hollow. They went a little haywire, and for the sake of their reputation, a proxy and not PopSec is needed. First, Greta, a boring machine who has fallen in love with the building. Greta is probably the easiest of the 3 kids to fight. She's slow and doesn't move. She's definitely the easiest to dodge. In poetry, she destroys her only love, receiving a hug in return, violence and kindness hand in hand.
She's single as hell!
Then I'm off to learn the magic of bros. Hans is annoying, with lots of attacks and kind of fast. He really highlights my lack of dodging. I ended up deciding if I'm not near him, he can't hit me.
Bro.
I leveled up Knife Boo, but I didn't have enough to get him all the way up to 30. I bought one from the shop along with some cooling fluid. Then it's the next day and the HIA is offering me another fight with Hans. This fight, as with everything, went smoothly.
Bro.
That means I can level up all of my skills. Then I get to spend the day how I'd like to. I talked to Charlie, who reports that Ray, sometimes called Ray, has disappeared in Hollow Zero. And since I'm in need of Bang Boo level up materials, this is just another purge, so I decided to take what looks like the faster route. Everything was fine, but in this one spot the enemies didn't spawn right away. I was beyond confused. I had to go back to the ramp and everything worked again. I chose the paths left traveled by. Eventually, I find a data tower and watch Miyabi fight. Wow, look at her go! I find Ray alive and well. She sends me off to collect holodata. It's time to fight Nineveh? We watch her etherize corpses into the Thracian, and we beat the shit out of them.
The best defense is a strong offense.
Slowly, but we won. Decided to go ahead and do the purge again, but I really don't know why. I guess to get another license level? With all that done, I level Mafia Boo to 30. Then, kill some more time with Stalker. Bought another Starlight Dungeon. Then did some pulls. I decided to level up Billy so I could get another Starlight. Fitting, really. Contacted by Ray, who goes by Ray, but first just one more 10 pull. It's time to unlock Shuyi Defense. I take my trusty squad in and have a blast. 1 minute 11 seconds, by the way. And again, and again. To celebrate, 20 pulls for dubs. Well, thank you, Starlight Engine, but I don't want to play with you anymore. Gotta test it out, of course. I think the Starlight might be better, but it doesn't have a pretty effect on it.
I'll protect you from any danger.
Moving right along to our first rally commission. It goes just fine with no complications. I decided to give Eve what few discs I had in my position already. Not even a full set, but oh well. Now it's time to get back with Bellabog Industries. I was definitely wrong earlier. This kid doesn't put up much of a fight, making them the easiest to beat. Plus, Bagboo got the final hit. I'm proud of him. The next day, Jobert is back. With pleasure, Jobert. Then we've got to go get the prototype with Bellabog. There's a little minigame of in-sync moving with the 3 now much better behaved kids, which I enjoy doing. Grace gets surrounded by ethereals, so Eve gets to have enrichment. Hey, check this out! Flawless. A few fights later, we find the prototype and we unleash the monster from the monument. This fight just took a long time. The ethereal was tanky and had 2 phases to it. Kaleda kills the ethereal in a cutscene. This video isn't going to do justice and chapter 2 is over. Which means it's finally time for more upgrades. These fights were longer than the HIA fights and I kept getting a bit of a beating. But I liked the fights despite getting little of what I wanted. This allows us to meet my favorite designed NPC in this game, Elfie. She gives me goodies for Eve, and I quickly put them on. Really? They're not so bad. Grace shows up and gives me a model of Mr. White, Greta's love, to display in my room. I also put up Eve's dungeon. Before doing any quests, I decided to try for Brawler Boo again. But ended up with Snap instead. Lovely. Got some more seals, then went to meet Ophelia for the Notorious Hunt. I braved the Pompeii fight. The first phase went pretty smoothly, but in the second phase I lost quite a bit of health. But with good determination and some good dodging, I managed to win.
Nothing slips through my defense. The thread is...
And again. And again. I spent the day on commissions, and the next morning, my favorite man, Jobert, asks me to beat up his gang again. With pleasure, Jobert. And another one. Next, it's time to go to Lumina Square to renew our licenses. I got a little distracted. Belle fucking dies, then we're invited to the Public Security Safety Awareness Month lecture. The next day, I decided to go meet Yi at Sun's studio and bought a statue for my room. Then, I was off to help Zhuyuan and Qing Yi with getting people interested in being aware of safety. No one wants to go, but an accident happens in an alley. Sweet little give change is being accused of letting the driver's ducks out of the van. We go find the ducks and the officers chase the culprit into a hollow, which means we get to call Eve up for help. It goes smoothly and the 6th Street neighbors decide to attend the lecture out of gratitude. Then we get to meet the sweet KK, a pupsec bang boo who wants a career change. Long story short, he stays in pupsec boo. Then it's time for the seminar.
Worshipping an undeserving deity is sycophancy. Failure to act when action is needed shows a lack of courage.
Qingyi and Julian ditch for a job in the hollow, so of course, we follow. Done.
Let's keep going.
I I start day 4 with seal collecting and learning how to hang out with friends. Before Nicole's trial against Vision, a hacker named Rain sends her blank messages. Fairy tracks the signal and finds it's coming from the ballet twins.
We're here.
There's lots of fighting, but most importantly, turns out all the hairs are needed for court, so we get to hang out with Victoria housekeeping.
Careful, don't fall into the data abyss.
The next day, I don't help an officer and rank up as a proxy.
Strong offense.
Bagbu and Evelyn get their well-deserved level ups. Then I went into the weather domain qualification assessment so I could level up my boo. Then my dungeon. While I was in the mood, I fought Hans twice more as well. Went ahead and leveled up my disk drives, but I needed a little more level up material, so I had to go fight some more. Back to the ballet twins. Lots more fights, more Eos, and a scary ethereal.
Slips through my defenses.
It has impressive
After Ellen beats up some guests, we meet with the housekeepers and interrogate the captive. We give Ellen some candies, then rush back for more time with Lycon. I beat up rebels, find out Billy and the Hares are in trouble, continue to beat up ethereals.
The best defense is a strong.
Going straight to the rooftop. Miss Ellen's classmate?
Neutralizing the threat.
Save Rain, then do surprisingly well against the twins.
So unprofessional. Securing the perimeter.
Lycon saves the day and Perlman escapes. Chapter 3 is done. We have to update our digital licenses now. Belle shops too much, so it's night by the time we get back, and we meet a mysterious rat Thyron who doesn't even know what she's looking for. The next morning, we have to go back to public security, and that's a whole day too. I accidentally skipped Jane coming back to the video store, but that happened.
Bro.
Billy shows up with red mucus, and I'm off to the outer ring. We're driven off-road into a hollow, and by the way, I wish they didn't tell us right away Lucius is bad. Give me some suspense. Billy and Mucus beat up ethereals, and eventually we're saved for the Sons of Caledon. Belle dies again. We find out Perlman is here and are asked to help the Sons of Caledon with the Tour de Inferno. We stay overnight in Blazewood and set out on our first missions the next day. It's regular ethereal fights until some goons steal the data pile.
It's me, Bellum.
We fight Bellum over it and move on to the next mission. This time, someone bought out bike parts under the Sun's name. I bully Pokara in the corner, which would feel bad if it didn't look so funny. Next is following Kasu through a hollow until we find Morse. Then, it's time for the race consists of Caesar driving through obstacles until the path is blown up.
Hey, you. You're finally awake.
Now it's time to fight Pompey for real. I actually ended up pretty low on health, but I did beat him.
I'm here.
Caesar dies and the tour is over. I decorated my board afterward, and that's all for Chapter 4. The next day, I got more skill seals and fought Hans. We got a photo with section 6. 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 Then we're back to the outer ring for Nicole called for section. Nicole called for section 6's help, but we were attacked by an unknown third party. We make a run for it and end up in a hollow with Miyabi. We don't need to worry about what happened next until it's time for more Evelyn. We're on the hunt for Perlman again.
Let's go get our chubby little man back.
It's fights and finally a good job done by me. So Kaku is unfortunately here in the background of these fights. Why? Why, Hoyoverse? I just did my best to kill everything before she could get hits in.
What do you want from me?
We're trapped by Inspector Bringer and Hoshimi is arrested. Julian gets to ride a train. Miyabi goes a little crazy, but we take care of her and she's okay. Cough. It's time to go to Port Elpis and not be allowed to bring our own team in. I mean, what the fuck, Hoyoverse? Love playing a game where I build characters and get to use them. That's it for Eve's part in the story. The game then thrusts us right into Astra's story. The first fight with Eve is great, but I do accidentally switch to Astra a few times.
Don't.
Witness the magic of music.
This was my first time playing through this story, and I was recording without music, so this scene made me laugh. I still haven't done this story as of recording this,
Magic?
but I bet it's a nice scene.
True. Maybe I am enchanted by some kind of magic.
With all that out of the way, we're done. I had quite a bit of fun doing this and want to do more, though in the future I'll turn challenge mode on. This game is extremely solo character friendly, so it's only right I actually give myself a challenge, and I never got Brawler Boo, but I did get one last bag boo. I leveled up Astra. Oh, also I leveled up Avocado Boo. Avocado. Oh, also I leveled up Avocado Boo, just in case I ever needed their healing. Never used them once. Thanks for watching. Please leave a like for my ego, but don't worry about anything else. No idea when, or honestly if, I'll ever upload again. Bye. Love you.
Never gonna give you